Hi there, everybody. Phil Jones here, and welcome back to the Holding Difficult Conversations course, which is a 10 weeks course. We're up to week 7, and this week's about using your body. Thanks very much for sticking with us and getting this far. What we're going to do today is to consider elements of how we use our body to help us have difficult conversations, to help us communicate. And I think what we mentioned before was that actually good communications practice is good holding difficult conversations practice, and this sort of maps across. So we're going to look at some of those bits today. Okay, so just to look at what we're going to cover over the next 15 minutes or so. A bit of a reminder about Mehrabian, who was the guy that did the research into what communicates attitudes in communication. Now then we're going to do a section on using your shoes. This is this is one of the occasional series of fashion notes. No, it's not really, but it's about what we do with our shoes when we're having conversations. It's got nothing to do with taking them off, getting comfortable, or kicking people. Something about matching and mirroring with care. People will know about the matching and mirroring theory. And the last section is on minding your body language whilst being careful not to evaluate the body language of others. I think it's kind of a subtle and important element, actually. It's very, very useful. We'll finish with a reflective exercise, and then I'll let you get on with your day. So here we are. This is Mr. Mehrabian. A tremendous kind of story. He was born in 1939 in Iran, I think. I'm pretty sure about that. Of Armenian, his family were Armenian, and he emigrated to the UK, and now is I think it's emeritus professor. He's certainly associate professor of the University of College of Los Angeles. He's got a smashing, dapper-looking chap, I think, and he's got a great moustache. And I like the stuff he's done, and it's been criticised and what have you. However, it seems to me to be very useful. And you remember stuff from earlier course about what element of communication communicates attitudes, whether or not it was words, tone, or body language. And you probably remember that tone came out about 7. Words came out about 7. Tone came out about 35, and the rest was body language or other elements. And just to summarise, in relation to what we're talking about today, that non-verbal aspects of communication are crucial, especially when they're not congruent with the verbal aspects. When people say something, but you think, that's not quite right, something not right there. Give an example, and it's an everyday example I'm sure we'll have heard before, really, or certainly experienced. My son came home from school at the beginning of came home from college at the beginning of at the end of the term then. I said, how was college today? And he said, it was fine. His eyes were downcast and he was looking elsewhere. There was a sort of rather defeated air to him. And I said, oh, are you all right? And he said, yeah, I'm fine. I said, well, kind of. You're saying you're fine, but kind of doesn't feel like it. And we've all had that experience. The verbal bit said, I'm fine. The non-verbal bit said, I'm far from fine. And it was that lack of congruity which made you go, oh, I guess he might have gone and said, it's been terrible, and might look that way, and I would have responded similarly. But it kind of made me want to inquire a bit further, because his communication wasn't clear. Or rather, it was clear, but it didn't fit with the verbal element. So that's, I think, is Mehrabian's contribution, and it kind of runs through this whole business about using your body like a stick of rock, actually. So there we are. We'll leave Mr. Mehrabian and we'll head off to the land of shoes. Now, I took a long time to Google shoes that were facing in different directions to demonstrate incongruity. They're not my shoes. And other shoes are available. But there we go. What do I mean by using the shoes? Now, we all kind of know this sort of scenario where we are caught up in a conversation and we'd rather be elsewhere, or somebody approaches us, or maybe we go to somebody with a difficult conversation, and we'd rather not be having it. I think something I've noticed about is how you point your feet or your shoes. And one of the things that I've noticed in my work as a mediator is that how much I use my shoes to demonstrate interest. I kind of often move from one person to the other. I'm noticing something very subtle in my balance. Another example might be, somebody buttonholes you about something difficult, and you'd rather be somewhere else. Your balance of your body is saying, "I want to be somewhere else. I want to go. I want to go." We've all seen that in other people. I'm going to suggest that those times we may recognize the value of having this conversation if you're in this stuff. Maybe we don't know how you're now, but maybe as part of the ongoing long-term relationship with this, might be a service user, might be a customer, might be a member of staff, if we engage in this conversation. So as a first step, I'm going to say we pick up our shoes and we point them in the direction of that person. And I think for me, in my experience, is that it's an indicator to say, right now, this is what I'm doing. You're going to listen. And it may also be a communication to that person all right, he's really listening now. So, and it's something about putting your feet where you want to go. I kind of noticed, my feet in those situations are pointing towards the door because I want to go. But there's a bit of me that knows that in the long term, it's going to be very useful to continue a level of engagement with this person. So let's pick up our shoes and point them towards them and indicate to ourselves and to them that we're really interested in them. The final bullet point there is about balancing equally on each feet. It's sort of related, not quite the same, but it's something I've noticed in myself and others, particularly in presentations. It's just very useful when people doing presentations, put your feet on the floor, parallel or slightly turned out, and balance equally. There's something about the nerves that presentations engender in people, that they start doing things with their legs that they haven't done since primary school, twisting them around each other. You kind of see it quite a lot. And I think from a difficult conversations point of view, it helps to kind of literally, metaphorically, and metaphors are important, kind of root us, ground us to the ground, which means that we might be confident in what we say, we're confident in what we're hearing, we're confident in being able to have whatever comes to us. And I would do this if I was standing, I would do it if I was sitting, I would do it if my legs were under the table and I couldn't be seen. I would do that because it's just one of these little things that helps. So there you go, everybody. Use your shoes. I think I might get some t-shirts printed with that as a logo. Please email me with ideas. Matching and mirroring with care. Now, I guess many of us will know this theory. I guess it probably comes from somebody like Milton Erickson, who was one of the grandfathers of hypnotherapy. And he noticed that if he changed his body to match that of the person that he was talking to, he would have better conversations. And he had some really quite extreme ideas about what he was matching. He certainly would match physicality. He would be matching the modulation of voice tone. He'd certainly be matching the words used, and I would suggest that's a really great idea anyway. But he also went as far as to thinking that he would certainly match eye contact. He would match blinking. Yeah, he'd match blinking. He'd blink at the same pace. And he even reckoned he could match pulse. No, I'm not sure about that. And I'm not sure if this is magic. I think of this as being one thing I would do in order to keep connected with somebody. But it's not without its problems. I think, particularly in difficult conversations, any sense of mimicry is like a no-no, isn't it? In certain contexts, mimicry is it's flattery, but in this one, it's not. It's something else. I'm not sure what it is, but I guess I'd say it might be construed as taking a piss, actually. However, one of the things I might do is just make some subtle shifts to change my body in a way that that reflects the body of somebody else. And I can't do it physiologically because my body's different from everybody else, but I just do it a little bit. The other problem with this is that, if we're having a difficult conversation, our brains are working overtime, aren't they? The old CPU in the brain is working really hard to listen, to attend, to indicate our interest, to think about what this information means for us, to respond and manage the conversation in the best way. So spending too much of it thinking about, what I'm doing with my pencil or whatever, I would just dip out for a second, take in the whole picture, and make some subtle shifts. That's what I would do. I thought the other thing about mirroring and difficult conversations, sort of matching and leading, I think it's called sometimes, is that let's say somebody's behaving quite floridly, maybe they're striding around and moving their arms around, they're kind of doing things with their face, and there's a sort of question for ourselves if we're conscious about what our bodies are doing, whether or not we take a more kind of languid, laid-back approach, or we do a more modest, more circumspect, less florid version. So somebody's going like this, and I'm going like this. Maybe. I wouldn't claim this is magic. It was just one of the little things that I do, that I put attention on just for a moment, with a view to hoping, again, there's no guarantees, that this might communicate it's something to the person I'm talking with that I'm interested in listening, or maybe trying to understand. And I suppose the matching a lead in theory is that maybe we can even make that behaviour less ourselves, and that might lead the other person to come feel that they're more likely to be able to come and sit down and talk. It's match a mirror with care. I like this stuff. I think it's one of the things that we can do. And it's not everything, as it I think quite often is claimed. So that's matching and mirroring with care. Final thing about body language. I think I mind my own body language, and I'm careful with my evaluations of other people's body language. Now, people will make things up about you. If we walk into a room where people don't know us, for example, they look up, they see us, and instantly they have some information and they start to kind of construct ideas in their head. Usually we start off with our gender, actually, whether or not we're a man or whether we're a boy or girl. And then there's certain evaluations about how we're dressed, how we walk, how we look around the room, if we say something, how we speak. People start to kind of make up ideas. And you will be watching me on video and you'll be making up things about me. You'll start constructed ideas, what sort of guy I am. You will do. And if I met you, I'd be doing the same. I'll be doing exactly the same. And it's on the one hand, it's very, very useful. It's part of what the human brain does to try to make sense of the world. We don't need to know, everything about people in order to be able to work with them. We make some sort of stuff. We might call it assumptions. And of course, there's a problem, isn't there? There's a problem that we might make. We might make some discriminatory assumptions. Talked about hagging the hoodie, didn't we, a couple of weeks back, and about about the problems of discrimination as part of this evaluation. So I'm going to be how that's useful to me is I'm going to be mindful that people will do that for me, and therefore I'm going to make sure that I'll try to have some control over how I communicate. What the classic is that situation where you go to meet somebody in a company, in an organisation, you want to have a good relationship with, and then you're rude to the reception staff. I know none of you would do that. But it's that kind of thing. People will start. Word will get round. People will make things up about you. People will join the dots to create something. And therefore, I'm really, really careful that if I come to befriend, then I'm mindful about an openness, the way in which I connect with people, the way in which I smile. That's something I would do, probably naturally, but I'll be mindful of it. However, there's probably a need to be careful about what you make up about other people, how your own evaluations work. I think a real common one is eye contact. People who like eye contact less than you do are sometimes, labelled as avoidant or unconfident or even lying. People who like more eye contact than you do are often seen as, maybe staring, or they're a bit intense, aren't they? They're staring at me. And of course, there's cultural issues in relation to that, and gender issues about how people connect through eye contact. So therefore, I like to give people the eye contact that they like, and I'm really careful about kind of if any of those evaluations jump into my head, I just let them come and let them go. A classic, of course, is the folded arms. Received common sense, if you like, tells us that folded arms means, it means defensive, doesn't it? That's what it means. Well, of course it doesn't. What it really means is I've got my arms folded. That's what it means. And therefore I'd be very careful if that idea came to my head. Because if I thought somebody was defensive, I'd change my behaviour. But what I've done is I've seen them cross their arms. The one time that I might address that differently, I suppose, is that situation we talked about earlier on, about somebody giving different messages verbally and non-verbally. I'd be very careful, but I might make I guess what's sometimes called a mind read, a respectful mind read. Let's say you're talking to a member of staff and you've given them your plans for the future of the department, if you're in that position. And you say, what do you think? And they gaze off into the middle distance and speak slowly, and they say, yeah, I think it's great. I'm really excited about these plans. We've noticed there's a bit of incongruence between the way they're standing and the way they're looking and what they're saying. So we might say, well, I hear you say you're excited about the plans, but actually I can see that you're looking out the window and your shoulders are sagging. And I just want to check, are you really excited? Yeah, because I am really interested in what you think. So what we've done is described. I haven't said you don't look excited. And what I've done is I've just done a description of what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing. And there's nothing wrong with saying you don't look excited. But again, the whole thing about this course is using the tiny little things that might make a difference. And I think describing the incongruity of what that person has said and what they're doing with their body can be really, really useful. However, be careful about these evaluations. You might be able to check them out if you want to. However, I would do so extremely respectfully. Okay, mind your body language and be careful with your evaluations. So, here's the reflective task for this week. Do the thing with the shoes. Have a go. In almost any conversation, just shift your body around, led by your shoes, to give your attention to somebody and notice what happens. Notice what happens. Generally notice what your body is doing when you're talking to another person. You don't got to change it, you just need to notice it. It doesn't have to be a difficult conversation, just allow your attention just for a moment to go on to what you're doing yourself. And this would be even better. Ask a colleague or a friend to notice what you're doing and describe what you're doing. Not to give you an evaluation, but ask them to describe what you're doing. And this could be in a meeting, whatever. Just get them to write down what your body was doing when you were speaking. I think that would be really, really useful information. Okay, so that's the reflective task. I hope these tasks are working well. I'm always really interested to get your feedback on them. And I look forward to speaking to you again next week. Any questions or comments on this course, or indeed anything else, you just let me know, and I'll be happy to talk to you about it. Thanks everybody very, very much, and have a good week.